A pretext is a purpose or a motive alleged, or an appearance assumed, in order to cloak the real intention or state of affairs.
Initial access. OMI is trying to get into your network.
Listen, this is your manager, and I'm trying to send off an email. I got this document. Need you to confirm a few details, so go ahead and log in and tell me what you think. I need this now, so to make this convenient, here is the link. I'm a threat actor, fishing mark for email is urgent to distract you with it. So how fast do you click it when you submitted the form with your password in it? You probably couldn't tell there was an actual difference in the URL. The domains look alike though, and to you it looks fine though, but mine had typos and make it look like yours. See, I was in the mood today to make your account a communal space, but then you activated your trap card, and I saw you had 2FA, but I just shrugged, I'ma shake it off. Got on kid gloves, I'ma take them off. Got your phone number, I'ma make a call. I'ma break this wall, it just makes me lol. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking. Yeah. Hello. Hi. I'm calling you from the IT department. We have been under attack by some hackers, and we think that your account might be a target.
Oh no, how do I fix this?
No need to worry, I wrote up a ticket. You'll get a notification from your authenticator app, so please pass me them digits.
1 sec.
Okay.
Yeah. The code is 112345.
Thank you. You fell for the lie, so I hung up the phone without saying goodbye. Cutting it short like a crew cut. Probably think it won't happen to you, but it happened to Uber. They say you win some, you lose some. Boys got a smooth touch hacking you too, bruh. You know how I be creeping and I'm logging in your VP, and it probably looks anomalous. Some logs if you be keeping them, and probably unaware about the shares that have been peeping. And the reason I'll be seeking them, I'm looking for an easy win. You probably thought it was a magic trick, and you're mad you clicked. I'ma stack my chips and bet that a DA password is sitting in an admin script. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking. I'm moving quick, I'm on a mission. Yeah, I heard your network is lit. I'm trying to get in. Yeah, I'm trying to get me a hit. When I go fishing. Yeah, you probably think it's legit. I got you clicking.
Hello, everyone. Good evening, and welcome to the platform today. I trust that we had a good day. I trust that we are really looking forward to today's session. Yeah, I see people in the comment section. Welcome, everyone. Let's see your comments on the comment section if you're excited to be a part of today's session. I want to see your comments. I want to see your emojis in the comment section. Send an emoji in. Let's see how excited you are to learn today, to learn all that Mr. Franklin has for us today. Yes, kindly leave your comments in the comment section. Welcome, Chioma Okafor. Good evening. We're happy to see you. I want to say how excited you are to be a part of today's session. Send your emojis in. I want to see them. And okay, I see Bemisola's message. He sent it earlier. Welcome, Bemisola. Those are our early birds. Send in your emojis. Let's see how excited you are. I'm very sure that we are all ready with our pens and biros. With our pens and books to write today, because I'm also here with my pen and my book, and I want to jot a lot from everything I'm going to learn from automation today. Welcome, Kelvin. Welcome. I see your emoji. Welcome, Abiola. I'm also so happy to be here. Welcome. So for the next 2 minutes to 6:10, I'm going to take in your, I want to see how excited you are. I'm going to take in your comments, take in your emojis, and, keep sending them in. Thank you very much. Welcome, Abiola. Welcome, Yusuf. I see you. Welcome. I see you. Abiola seems very, very excited. You're welcome. You're welcome. Don't forget to have your pens and books beside your phones or beside your laptops because we're going to jot a lot today. Okay, 1 more minute and then we introduce our speaker and then we introduce our topic. I can't see excitement in the comment section anymore. Send emojis, emojis. Yes, thank you, Dennis. You're welcome. I see your message. You're welcome. Thanks for joining the call today. I see Mr. Franklin is really ready for us and is prepared for us. He's been smiling since. Mr. Franklin, we're very much ready to hear from you. We're very much ready to learn from you. Yes. Okay. And we go into our topic now. So today I'm going to be introducing an auspicious person. You know, I've followed him on LinkedIn and I see his post. I see the wonders he's been doing. And yes, I know this is someone I really want to learn from myself. You know, today we're going to be learning from Mr. Franklin Afolabi. He's going to be our speaker for tonight's session. And I want to see some rolling applause in the comment section. I want to see your applauses in the comment section as I introduce him. So Mr. Franklin is a solutions architect. You know, that's not child's play these days. You know, he's a solutions architect and an enthusiast of cloud technology. He's always trying to harness its usage for organizations. You know, he loves transforming. He is part of the board of trustees of governmental organization with the aim of providing quality education and equal opportunity to the poor in the community, and the pilots the teaching of cloud computing. You know, with a standing ovation in the comment section, I want everyone to give a round of applause to our speaker, Mr. Franklin Afolabi. Being a solutions architect today is not beans, it's not child's play. You know, drawing designs and drawing solutions, you know, to cloud issues, to cloud problems is not beans these days. You know, I have friends that are solutions architects, and yes, I hear from them. Myself, I've been trying, and in fact, it's like it's like let's just be implementing processes and not drawing solutions. So I wanted to just give a round of applause as Mr. Franklin Afolabi comes up stage now. And then I'm going to also be, okay, yes, he's going to come up stage now. And also our topic for today is deploy automation to create, onboard, and secure AWS accounts in a multi-account or multi-region environment. I'm going to say that topic again. Deploy automation to create, onboard, and secure AWS accounts in a multi-account or multi-region environment. So this is both cloud and security. And I know everyone is conscious about security now, and especially in the cloud section. So I'm very sure that we're all going to be attentive today to learn from Mr. Franklin. Thank you very much, Mr. Franklin, and we'd like to have you on the podium now.
Good evening once more to everybody. Well, let's just go right into the discussion. How are we deploying automation to create, to onboard, and secure AWS accounts in a multi-account or multi-region environment? So let me start with this question. How many of us have an AWS account? How many do have an AWS account? If you have one, you could just chime in yes into the chat section for me to know how many people do have AWS account. If you don't have, no stress. It's not something that you should if you are not into cloud computing. But if you are into, I strongly recommend you get one for yourself to be able to do demos. So I'm seeing individuals saying, yes, they do have an AWS account. And that's quite interesting. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. So let me just start with this. Have you ever created an AWS account from scratch? And how long does it take for you to create an AWS account? I'm seeing a lot of us having AWS accounts. How long does it take for you to create an AWS account? Now, this is just a screenshot of the sign up page for the aws.console.aws. You will see that you will need your email. You will need an account name. Now, after putting your email and an account name, next, their email will be verified. It's a unique email. And there you will receive an OTP. After successfully using the OTP, you will be asked to create your root password. You will confirm the password, and then you will enter a CAPTCHA. And that's step 1. Next, you go into step 2. You'll be asked, what's the use case? Is it for a business or is it for a personal account for you to deploy minor or mini projects? And thereafter, if you say it's for a business, you will have to enter the organization name. And then you have to enter your full name, your phone number, your country, your address, your city, your state, your postal code. If you are some individuals, you will want to read the terms and conditions, but others will just check that box off. I'm seeing someone say it will take between 5 to 10 minutes, and I agree, depending on how fast you are. Now, this study series is not about you creating an AWS account, but it's just for us to see what automation can do instead of using 5 to 10 minutes or even 15 minutes, because you have to enter your credit card and ensure that every detail is correct. So the next question we will ask ourselves is, so how long will it take for you to create 10 unique accounts? So let's assume a smart person uses 10 minutes to verify all detail. How long will it take to create 10 accounts? After 10 accounts, how long will it take to create 100 accounts? What about 1,000 accounts? I'm sure you will say that is work, right? Yes, I totally agree with you. And you may be wondering, why do I need 10 accounts? Or why do I need 1,000 accounts? Well, as an individual, you just need 1 or 2 accounts to be able to do your testing and little minor projects. But the big organizations of the world, the enterprise organizations, the Netflix, the Figma, these companies have several accounts on AWS. And in a short while, we will see why it is useful to have multiple accounts. But now, we've seen about creating accounts. What about configuring each account for each use case? Now, that may take much more than 5 to 10 minutes to configure each unique account. What about securing each of these accounts for those users? So now you will agree with me that it will likely take someone who is smart to get a full-time job in a company that is to register multiple accounts manually. So, as a cloud engineer, as a DevOps engineer, as a solutions architect, or as a cloud enthusiast, how would you approach this? And that's where automation comes in. You see, manual processes are prone to human error. Just imagine you miss an alphabet from a unique email. You won't get the OTP there. And that could be so frustrating. Say, for example, you're using my email, franklin@gmail.com, and I just mistakenly omitted the I. That can cause trouble. I'll be checking my email, where is the OTP, and nothing is forthcoming. Manual processes are sometimes less accurate, and they can be tedious. For individuals who do repetitive tasks, it's sometimes really, really boring. But automation, machines love repetitive tasks. They are more reliable, they are efficient, and they are suitable for repetitive tasks. And the speed is amazing. But note, for automation, something is needed. You have to give in something. There's a higher initial investment in terms of time and resources. So you will need time to be able to automate something first. But that first initial investment is worth it because thereafter, everything will just have to go seamless. So the time and the resources it takes might take few hours, few days, but thereafter, everything becomes fast. So now, let's share two beautiful examples about single accounts versus multi-accounts. Now, there's a junior engineer that was employed in a company. Now, this junior engineer, he was trying his hands on CloudFormation stack, and he was quite interested to see that there is a CloudFormation stack that he can use to deploy a 3-tier architecture. So, you know what that junior engineer does? He has been given the admin role in his company, and he knows he can launch CloudFormation on the account, and then he launched a CloudFormation stack in US East 1. And he was happy. All the resources were created. So to satisfy his curiosity to see how CloudFormation works, he goes into the EC2 console, and look, he saw 2 instances named web server. Now he was confused because the documentation says that a web server will be launched, an application tier will be launched, and a database also. But why are there 2 web servers? So out of fear, he terminated the 2 EC2 instances. And you know how CloudFormation works. He relaunched one of them. About 30 minutes later, the senior solutions architect started receiving calls that the website of the company is down. Unknown to the junior engineer, he did not know that he was in a production environment and he terminated the web server that is serving their company's website. If you are the junior engineer, how would you feel? Miserable that day, right? Because that company uses a single account, both for testing and for production. Here's a second example. Now, an attacker gained an access to the only AWS account that a company has. And this company deploys all their workload on US West 2. So now this attacker, so smart enough, he decided to launch large EC2 instances, like a C7X large instance that cost about $120 per hour. But he was so smart enough, and this attacker launched it in Singapore region. But this company monitors all their workload in US West 2. So at the end of the month, the bill came, and they were reviewing their bill. Why are we having thousands of dollars on EC2? Which region is this? Until they realized that an attacker gained access to their account and launched large instances. Now, I hope you better understand the proverbial saying, do not put all your eggs in one basket, especially if they are not yet cooked. Imagine this basket of eggs, raw eggs, uncooked eggs in one basket, and the little boy holding the basket fell. But if it was in smaller packs, the attack radius will be minimal. So it can happen if you have a single account. Now, in the architectural diagram you are seeing, do you see any problem here? Do you see any problem here? Now, there are 3 production environments. VPC1, VPC2, VPC3. Now, in that same account, in US East 1, we have the development VPC, we have the sandbox VPC, and we have another development VPC. Now, in US West 2, they have the VPC for their research and development. They have where they have their data lake, and they have another one for security. Now, in this same account, they have several S3 buckets, one for production, one for marketing, one for legal, and they're also using Route 53. But do you also notice the team that they have in these accounts? App Dev Team 1, App Dev Team 2, Operations Team A, Operations Team B, and they have a contractor also. So how will they be able to manage these accounts with all these sets of people around, giving the right access? Who should have access to production? Who should not have access? Now that will be trouble. So you see, management and governance of single accounts, for example, for large enterprises, it's really complex. Non-production account workload might impact on production workload. And the billing structure will be so complex. Now, this is what I mean. If you've received the AWS bill before, you will notice that the data transfer, the outbound data transfer, is just one lump sum. And that, you will not know which service because you just see data transfer, data transfer. It will also be difficult to manage. Now, the policies, the IAM policies that you will write for an account like this will have a lot of conditional statements. If this is in this, deny him access to this. If this is in that team, deny him access to this bucket. And that will really require someone so smart to write all those policies for each of those user groups. So you see a problem with single account, especially when your workload is really getting much. But now we can solve the problem. If we have multi-accounts, we can organize our accounts because different business teams will have different purposes. So separate accounts will be useful for them. Legal team just need an S3 bucket for compliance. An account for them is good. Audit team have an account for them. And this will make each team be responsible and be focused. Then different applications have different security profiles, and there are different control policies that are needed. We know those in the banking industry, their compliance is high. Those in the health industry, their compliance is high. So security and compliance is also key. And with a single account, it will really be complex. What about billing and cost management? If we have multi-accounts, you can have consolidated billing, and you can know from each of those accounts where money is being spent. And it'll be nice and easier for you to be able to budget for each of those teams. So we've seen problem solved 1 on governance. What about problem solved 2 on management? Now, this is a technical aspect. The blast radius, if there is an attack on a compromised attack, the blast radius is reduced. Now, just imagine that attacker that attacked the accounts of that company, and even they have separate accounts and they've denied many regions, it could be quick for them to spot that someone is launching an EC2 instance in a region that is being monitored. There's also limits access to sensitive data because people will not be going around looking at what they should not be looking on the AWS console. So if the account is restricted, the principle of least privilege will be in force. And this is one part that is interesting to me also. You can expand your quotas. Now, yesterday we discussed about API gateway and Lambda. Now, do you know that your API gateway has a throttling limit? There's a throttling limit by region, a throttling limit by account. So now, let's just imagine this. The Netflix of the world. We know how many millions of people stream movies on Netflix. Now, just imagine Netflix has a single account, and their throttling limit per that account is 10,000 invocations per second. So how will millions of people be able to call the API for this particular movie that is trending? But if they have multiple accounts, so let's say 10,000 is the throttling limit, having 100 accounts, you know what that means. So you can expand your quota if you've reached the service limit that even AWS may not be able to raise if you raise a support ticket. And one more thing, you can increase innovation and agility. You have a sandbox account, they can experiment there. You have a development account, they can debug and fix features, and things will go well in your organization. So now, how will I create a multi-account? In AWS, there are 2 ways you can create multi-account: AWS organizations and AWS control tower. With AWS organizations, just with one click, you are able to log into the console, add another email, a new accounts will be generated, and it will be in an organization unit. But with AWS Control Tower, there is even much more that you can achieve. With AWS Control Tower, you can register several accounts. You can generate several accounts on AWS. Next question will be, how will I secure multi-accounts? If you are using AWS organizations, you can secure multi-accounts using service control policies. Now, if you look at the service control policy on the monitor, you will notice that this service control policy is deny access for someone to delete flow logs, for someone to delete log groups, or to delete log stream. So every other account under this organization that this SCP is controlling will be limited. So that is secure. However, with AWS Control Tower, you can do more. Just see how granular it can become. And this is just by statements. Disallow changes to bucket policy for Amazon S3 buckets. This is clear enough. If you don't even know how to read the policy in JSON statement, with this line, you understand what it means, that you can disallow changes for a bucket policy. Or see another one. Detect whether encryption is enabled for Amazon EBS volumes attached to Amazon EC2 instances. And so these are service control policies work. But with AWS Control Tower, you have it called as guardrails. But in more recent time, AWS uses controls to call such implementation. So we see how we can secure a multi-account. Now, how will I manage multi-accounts? In order to manage multi-accounts, many things are needed. We need a landing zone. And a landing zone is the baseline for a well-architected multi-account architecture with identity management, governance, observability, data security, network design, and logging. Now, if you are using AWS organization, you will need to create each account. And now you'll be the one to manage the identity management. You'll be the one to manage the security. You'll be the one to configure the account that will manage logging. However, with Control Tower, in few minutes, 30 minutes or an hour, you could have accounts that will be used for each of these use cases. So one important thing when creating a landing zone, and this is the key important thing, that you need to choose your home region. So you'll be very careful to know where will be our primary region for deploying workloads. Well, when setting up on Control Tower also, you could put additional regions that could be used. So we've seen how we can manage our multi-account, and we've seen that Control Tower is useful to set up and govern multi-account environment. The beautiful part of Control Tower is it sits on AWS organization. So AWS organization is still under Control Tower and being controlled by Control Tower. I think that name is really funny, Control Tower. But apart from that, you have your IAM Identity Center, which is easier for you to manage permissions. You have the service catalog. And all these things are used and to orchestrate a well-architected environment. So let's look at a little architecture. Solutions architecture. So I will try and break it down as much as possible. Now, the architecture that is by our right, where you see AWS organization OUs, you have the Control Tower initial OU. And the Control Tower initial OU, when you create your landing zone, Control Tower will automatically create 2 organization units for you. And those 2 organization units are the security organization unit and the sandbox organization unit. Well, as you go on, even in templates, you can create several organization units for your own use case. But these 2 are key. Now, when Control Tower creates the security organization unit, now we move to the architecture diagram by its right. The account that you are using for Control Tower, will provision this environment, the security OU, and there'll be two accounts, the audit account and the log archive account. The audit account and the log archive account. So for the log archive account, all your logs will go here, and you know the service that will be useful for generating logs. For the audit account, the access that is needed here will be minimal, and it can also be used to query all your logs as well. For the sandbox account, you can use it for your testing and your development, but not for production. So AWS will provision this with the control tower for you. Now, what more features do we have for AWS control tower? We have guardrails, or what is recently called controls, and these apply to an entire organization unit that is being managed by control tower. And the control behavior are three. You have preventive control that prevents events from occurring or that limits the region you are operating. And preventive controls sits on service control policies in AWS organization. The second part is detective controls. With this, you can detect if there is a problem, you can log, you can receive alerts through SNS notification for specific events that are occurring in your accounts or in the OU. And this could be a compliance, a non-compliance, an error, or it's not applicable, because this is being implemented under AWS config rules. The third control behavior is the proactive controls. Before a resource could be deployed, it will be checked first. Control tower has the ability to see whether it's in harmony with the company's policy and objective. Then if it is, CloudFormation takes up and it will provision those resources. If it's not, CloudFormation will roll back. And now we have the control guidance, which includes the mandatory control, and this is by default. You can't escape it. It's applied to all OUs. The strongly recommended is just to be in compliance with best practice. The elective guidance, well, this can be used by you or may not be used by you, depending on how your workload is. So these are some features that really guides control tower: preventive, detective, or proactive controls. Now, let's see it in details. You see that to enable multi-factor authentication for root user is strongly recommended. So if it is detected that you are not compliant, you can trigger a CloudFormation hook to enforce that there will be an MFA for root user. To disallow policy changes to log archive is preventive, is mandatory. So no one will have access to your log archive account and go and make changes. Control tower has that ability. To disallow delete action on S3 buckets without MFA. Well, if you want to implement MFA when deleting your bucket, it all depends on you. So that's why it's elective. But if this is selected, the config rule will say compliant, non-compliant, or inapplicable. So these are some things to really understand about AWS control tower. But how do we now provision multi-accounts at a go? AWS control tower has two more features: service catalog and account factory. So in service catalog can restrict what resources can be deployed. If you have administrator access, I don't know whether this has happened to you. If you have administrator access, all the resources on AWS you'll be able to see. But they can implement service catalog in your organization such that all that you can see on AWS will be EC2s and VPCs. So that's the power of service catalog. It can centrally manage the IT resources that are being deployed. You can even limit it to specific instances, specific databases, so people don't go about clicking what they should not. However, Account Factory is very useful to provision new accounts. All you do is you supply the email. And when you supply the email, wow, it will provision. But one beautiful thing is it will configure. If you've chosen that this email I'm supplying for this account should go to this organization unit, all the necessary controls will be inherent. Now, if you choose to create your account somewhere else and you enroll it under AWS Control Tower, you will have to manually add it to that organization unit for it to inherit all the permissions needed. But if you use the Account Factory, it gives all at the get start. So I know you agree with me that Control Tower is very, very nice. Now, one more thing about best practices with regards to Control Tower. It's good to create OUs and accounts using the Control Tower page. You can centrally manage your workforce with multiple accounts with IAM. You can create your own access portal. In Identity Center, you've said this person should have access to this, and at the get-go, they have all access. And lastly, it's nice. Best practice for administrator to educate their users. So if your organization is just moving to Control Tower, let people know the changes that will be there before they start coming. What's happening? I used to see this before, I'm not seeing this again. It will be good for them to understand that, yes, we are using Control Tower, everything is managed, and everything will be reduced. So I wish I could show you a little about how Control Tower is, or how to create a Control Tower. But it appears I've started seeing some questions right here. Someone is asking, what are the disadvantages of using AWS Control Tower and also multi-account? And then I'm seeing another one. What's the best option with respect to cost? Or is using AWS Organization and Control Tower free? Okay, I'll take those questions very soon. Or should I take it now, Debbie?
Yes, please. Let's take them now.
So what are the disadvantages of using Control Tower? Now, there are more advantages than disadvantages. Control Tower is just a new service in AWS. It was not from the get-go when AWS was coming. It came in 2019 or 2020. And AWS, I don't know if you have read the leadership principle of AWS. One is customer obsession. And what they do is they work back from customer. Many organizations have been trying to implement a secure environment for themselves. So, and that's what brought about the idea of Control Tower, to limit access. So Control Tower will not really have a disadvantage if you're in a large enterprise organization. Each person will focus on its own work. But the complexity might look like a disadvantage because you just need to know what you are doing. If you don't know what you are doing, you can mess up a lot of things. Say, for example, your users or the customers who are accessing your own resources, they are in Africa. Let's say they're in South Africa, and you are provisioning a landing zone in US East 1. If you are not careful, your users will have very high latency. So those who will be setting up a Control Tower should know what they are doing. Now, you say the disadvantage of multi-accounts. We've seen more advantages than disadvantages. Management of multi-accounts may look a little cumbersome. Yeah, if you receive the AWS bill, it might be a little longer, but it's easier to segregate things. Tiny bits are good than having a lump sum. Now, I think that satisfies that there are more advantages than disadvantages using control tower. So what's the best
Yes,
option
so
with
the
respect
second
to
question.
cost? Using
Okay.
AWS organization or control tower? The interesting thing is AWS organization and control tower, they are free to use. But it is the services that you provision using these two that will incur you costs. Creating an AWS account is free.
Exactly.
But when you deploy an EC2 instance, you receive your bill. So AWS organization, control tower, they are just for more management. There was a post I made this morning. You can't give everybody the master key to your house. You're in trouble. If you give your gate man and you don't trust him, when you come back at the end of the day, you're in trouble. You will not give it to your 7-year-old boy to take to school and tell everybody, this is my father's master key. You will do small keys for everybody to be able to enter their room. So
Yes.
there are more advantages to using managed services like control tower or organization. So with regards to costs, it
Okay.
costs you nothing to use those services, but the resources you provision in them is what incur cost. I think I can take one or two more. What are the processes to use
Yes,
control tower
we have
to
two more
automation
questions. So
of
I don't know
member?
if you want to take. Okay.
Okay, let me just take
Go
this
ahead,
one.
please.
The process to automate the creation of member accounts. We talk about the account factory. So with the account factory, you put in an email, you assign the organization unit, control tower takes over, and in few minutes, your account is ready. Your account is ready. It is placed in that
Wow.
organization unit, and it inherits all the permissions needed. When registering my AWS account, I'm having issue with MFA device. What's your advice? Okay, well, this is not the scope, but Abiola Sojobi, I can message you on, let's troubleshoot that together about your MFA device not working. I don't know which authenticator you are using. The authenticator could also be, but if you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, I think they've posted the LinkedIn, so we can work on that. That would be interesting for us to work together. That's my time. I wish I could show you how we could provision a little on control tower, but our time is gradually up. But if I can just have maybe the next 4 minutes, I'll share my screen and we can just see how control tower looks, and we can call it a beautiful evening. So let me just share my screen. This is my screen. Yeah, these are some of the services I've used recently. And here is control tower. You can use the search bar to search for control tower. So here is control tower. Now, I wish I could have set up a landing zone, but a landing zone will take about 30 minutes or so. Okay, yeah. It will take about 30 minutes to 1 hour for a landing zone to be provisioned. But let me just show you a little about control tower in the next 2-3 minutes. So you see, this is the control tower, set up and govern your multi-account environment. I can set up a landing zone. And you see, you review pricing and select region. To use control tower, no problem. But see some of the things you need to know when using control tower. All the organization units, infrastructure, they are under you. After I set up a landing zone, you can register existing organization units that contains up to 300 accounts. If I know you use more than 300 accounts, you can register it to control tower. So while some AWS services at no additional charge, you will pay for service catalog, CloudTrail, Config, CloudWatch, SNS, VPC, S3. So you see, it's the services you are using under control tower that you will pay for. So I'm choosing my region as US East 1. I can do a region deny setting. So if I don't want any account to have access to a particular region, I can deny it from control tower right here. If I click enable, then nobody except our landing zone. But if it's not enabled, then I can select which of the regions I want people to have access to. So here is my home region, US East 1. And then if I click next, selecting that that's my home region, it's creating this OU, the security OU for me. It will ask me to create additional OU, which is sandbox. You see, it's recommended. Then I go next. This is my management account. It will create a log account for me. I just have to put an email for log archive because CloudTrail needs to be monitoring my account. Then for the audit account, which is under the security OU as we discussed earlier, I need also to put access here so that if there are auditors coming, they can see what is happening in our own account. So I'm wrapping up here. I hope you've been able to see a demo of what Control Tower looks like. Thank you. And I'm sure we've been able to see answers to
Wow. Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Franklin. I wish I could show everyone my notes right now because my notes is very full right now. I have to just take down a lot of things and I learned quite a lot. Thank you so much, Mr. Franklin. Thank you for the session. Thanks for the enlightenment and thanks for the information. The information is not a waste. Yes. Because who doesn't like automation? Who doesn't like automation? So yes, we really so much appreciate your time. Please, I want to see comments in the comment section. Let's appreciate Mr. Franklin as we prepare for the quiz now. As we prepare to crown a champion today. So I'm very sure that everybody had their barrels and books down, so they're ready to take down. Ready to enter the champions room. So let's get ready for the quiz. Or you can type this URL in your browser, ahaslides.com. That's ahaslides.com. ahaslides.com with a backslash at the back and E for YEV in capitals. You can see the screen you can see the link on the screen. Okay, so please let's join we're still waiting for everyone. Let's join. Please scan the code or go to ahaslides.com/E4YEV. Put it in your browser and then Olix, I see you there. Welcome. Let's see those that will be swift to enter the room, and let's hope that the race will be to the swift today. Mayor, you're welcome. I see you there. You're welcome. People are crying in advance already. Why now? So people are already sad in advance. Solar Fair, you're welcome. Let's join. We're expecting more of you. Emmanuel, you're welcome. Abiola, I see you. Baby, who is Baby? You're welcome. You're welcome. We want to keep seeing you. We have 6 players in the room now. Please, we want more people to join. We want to crown the champion today. Who is going to be our champion? Today? So please scan the code or type this URL in your browser. We have the URL on the comment section already, so you can click on it and join. You're welcome. I see more people joining. Welcome, Sams. You're welcome, Limitless. Welcome, Lady. Welcome. You're welcome, Sports. I see you. I see people excited and ready to begin. Did the people that sent crying emoji? What is going on now? Let's have it. You can be the champion today. You're welcome. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, I see you all. You're welcome. You're welcome. And we'll be starting now. Okay. So we're going to be starting the quiz now. We have 12 players in the room. We're going to start the quiz now, and let us see who our champion will be. So this is our first question. Which type of policy is used to manage permissions for accounts in AWS organizations? Which type of policy is used to manage permissions for accounts in AWS organizations? Let's see those that took notes. Let's see those that took down notes today. Yeah. Which type of policy is used to manage permissions for accounts in AWS organizations? Some people are surprised in the comment section and some people are loving. Okay, let's see the answers now. Wow. Now we know those that were taking down notes. 4 people got the answer correctly. And then Lady is topping the board. Limitless, I see you. Mayo, I see you. Idimu6. I hope I pronounced that well. Apologies. I see you there. Keep it up, please. Lady and Limitless, you have the same point. Okay, question 2 now. Which level of access should audit account users have to other AWS accounts in the landing zone? Which level of access should audit account users have to other AWS accounts in the landing zone? Let's see the fastest finger. Wow, I think this question is that easy. People are laughing in the comment section. So a few seconds more and then okay, let's see what the answer is. Wow, that's awesome. 7 people got the answer correctly. Of attention. Lady is still topping the board. Limitless, what happened now? I see Lady has maintained that position. Okay, Solarfair is back up. You're welcome, Solarfair, Sams, and Endels. Limitless, please, I'm rooting for you. Yeah, don't let anybody get your position. Okay, our third question now. How are controls implemented? This question tests for the fastest answers. How are controls implemented? How are controls implemented? Mr. Franklin actually touched this part a lot. So I expect to see plenty answers in this part. And I see people are laughing. That's very good. That's very, very encouraging. So I should be expecting about 12 answers. Who is acting surprised? How are controls implemented? Okay, let's see our answer now. And then 9 people got the answer correctly. No wonder. I saw a lot of laughter in the comment section. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, let's not forget there's a prize to be won. Let's go to our fourth question now. Hey, Sams, you're welcome up. Lady, you made someone to take your position. And Limitless, you're welcome back up. I see you. I see you back up. Now we're going to our fourth question, and we're going to determine who is going to catch bag. Okay. Question number 4. Which AWS services would be used to aggregate management events and API calls to the security OU? Which AWS services would be used to aggregate management events and API calls to security organizational units? Who took down notes? Who took down notes? Which AWS services would be used to aggregate management events and API calls to the security organization unit? And the answer is, let's see the answers now. Control towers are CloudWatch and CloudTrail. I almost slipped that. CloudWatch and CloudTrail. Awesome. Awesome. Let's see who is topping the leaderboard now. Let's see who is topping the leaderboard now. Lady is back to her position. Awesome. Where's Limitless? I can't see Limitless again. Lady, you're welcome back. You're welcome back. Show me there. Limitless. What happened? Well, lady, I see you're planning to take this bag home. So now let's go to our fifth question that determines who is actually going to be with this bag. A little bit lengthy. AWS CloudFormation hooks. AWS CloudFormation hooks provide proactive validation and automatic enforcement to ensure that new services and resources in an account meet security, compliance, and other configuration requirements. True or false? AWS CloudFormation hooks provide proactive validation and automatic enforcement to ensure that new services and resources. I see people crying in the comments. Why now? AWS CloudFormation hooks provide proactive validation and automatic enforcement to ensure that new services and resources and accounts meet security, compliance, and other configuration requirements. I expect people to actually to get this particular answer. Let's see our answer now. And the answer is, wow, everybody got this correctly, and this is awesome. Just one person failed. Who is that person? Who is that person that is? Yeah, 14 people got the answer, and that is very much encouraging. And Lady is topping the board. We have our final winner, which is Lady. Congratulations, Lady. Congratulations, you maintained your position, and somebody almost shifted you, but you decided to maintain that position. Congratulations, and we have our winner now. Let's congratulate her in the comment section also. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session today. Okay, lady, kindly send email to, I'm going to drop an email now on the okay, please give me a moment, lady. We're going to be sharing an email account now and then. You please drop your email and drop your email and your full name on that. Share your email and your full name in that email. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you very much for joining the session today, and thank you so much, Mr. Franklin, for joining the session today. I can't forget the first part. Okay, yes, lady, the email address to send your details to is awscloudsecwestafrica@gmail.com. We have it in the comment section and on the screen also. So please send your LinkedIn profile, send your email address, send your phone number and your Twitter handle to awscloudsecwestafrica@gmail.com. We have it on the screen so that you get the spellings correctly. Okay, Harrison is asking, how can I join? Just to be clear, how can you join? We have our social media handles that I'm going to, yes, we have it on the screen now. You can join and follow our social media handles by clicking on the link on the screen. We're going to share the link in the comment section now. I'm going to share the link in the comment section. The link is http://link tr.ee/AWS Sec West Africa. Yes, we have it in the comment section now. So Harrison, you can click on that link to follow all our social media handles, and then from there you get to join the society also. Thank everybody. Thank you so much for joining the session today. And then once again, we appreciate Mr. Franklin for his time and for dishing out information, very helpful information today. And then, like I was going to say earlier, one thing that stood out from me, or one thing that I'm not going to forget in a rush, is the introductory session where he mentioned that do not put all your eggs in one basket, especially if they are not yet cooked. So don't, let's make use of the service of orchestrating, not just orchestrating all your accounts in one session or in one particular account, but make sure that you make use of automation and make use of AWS control tower to put all your accounts in different sections, put all your departments or organizational units in different sections to make your work even clearer and more secure. And I believe that everyone has learned so much today, and we're going to enjoy. I mean, we have taken on something today. Pardon me for that. We're taking on something today, and we're going to begin to employ these solutions. So now I want us to get set to also look forward to next week's session. That's next week Monday, which is on the 2nd of October. Next week Monday, we're going to be having our next session, and the topic is going to be the topic for next week is going to be implementing security best practices in application development on AWS. In AWS Security User Group West Africa, we are all about security. And then next week, Monday, also, we're going to be talking about implementing security best practices in application development in AWS. And then we're going to be having a seasoned speaker also who will be talking to us on this topic. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And I hope you have a good day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.